Hello. Oh, it would help if I had my microphone closer to my face. Can anybody hear me or see me? I see Zako's in the chat. It's been a while since I've used YouTube Studio. We'll see how this goes. Boy, oh boy. Let me adjust this. I am on my... very bright. Oh, that's horrible. I just turned the computer. I'm on my laptop because I'm sick and did not feel like sitting at the desktop at all. But thank you guys for joining me. Andrew Ralulafo, I hope I said that right. Andres Lobsel, hey. Yeah, I thought that you might enjoy that. YouTube asked for me to pose for a thumbnail shot. And I was like, oh shit, I look horrible and I'm sweaty and gross and sick. So I decided to just embrace that and really embrace the beautiful aspects. It amused me, so that's what I did. This is a horrible setup, but I figured I could at least do a Q&A even though I'm feeling awful. I did not feel like trying to shoot zombies or anything tonight, sadly. I am feeling a lot better, but it just is very draining. Thanks for everybody joining us. I see Kim, Sky Center, Katie, Jeff, a bunch of folks. And yeah, we're going to talk about, since I figured, well, for one, I'll answer your questions, of course. And another, I thought I'd start talking about a video game I've been working on. People in the Discord have probably already heard about it because I created a chat room. Best timing in the world. Hey.
Last night I asked if you clean up the
closet. Can we talk about it later? Why? I'm streaming. Oh no, that dumb idiot. I wondered. You should close that closet door. I'll clean it again. All right, bye. Oh, my dog is eating trash. Anyway. Yeah, so I'm creating a video game. If you look in the description below, I posted a link to some of the stuff I have been working on. Some of it's what I've posted in the Discord, some of it I have not. But yeah, I wanted to talk about it. I thought it might help me, for one, to sort of start figuring out the project. I know on a really... I kind of know the big scale and not the little scale, which I don't know how folks typically write. That's how I write novels. And so, hey, Delvin. But it's a definitely different adjusting to this style of writing. I have a lot of experience, if you want to call it that, designing games with RPG Maker. So while I am not a big part of the indie scene, I've never really published a game. I got into RPG Maker like 5 or 6 years ago, and literally it's the thing I've put the most hours in on Steam. I think I have like 1,000 hours across all 5 different RPG Maker things. I've never done a visual novel, so this will be different. But I've got some experience with thinking like a game designer rather than a writer. It's not survival horror in the sense of, like Silent Hill. You're not going to be able... I'm not making a 3D game. More like think the House and Fata Morgana, which is a horror-themed visual novel. We Know the Devil, another horror-themed visual novel. So it's a visual novel story with horror themes. Hello, folks jumping in. RPG Maker, easy to use. It's got a lot good going for it. It takes some practice to figure out how it works. I'd actually considered in the past doing a live stream of it to like give people a sort of how do you play this kind of thing to get into it, because RPG Maker is super fun and you can make some great games with it. I've actually got a project that I've kind of set aside for now because I think the visual novel will suit me better than the RPG Maker style. But yeah, I actually created my own sprite sheets and everything, but I'm not good at sprite work. It was all really ugly. This was in college years ago. So, but yeah, there's a lot of different stuff like that. Like a digital comic, you can kind of think of a visual novel as being like an interactive comic book. Dream Daddy's a famous one. There's a lot of romance themed visual novels, but you're seeing the genre grow a lot more widespread. There's a lot of horror there as well. Um, but yeah, it's fun. Where do I find inspiration for my characters? I don't know. Probably, I think I just write about characters that I like. That's so weak, but the kind of characters I would want to see. There's a definite trope I've noticed in a lot of my fiction from when I was very young, where I write the old bitter warrior woman, kind of the Wolverine but a woman. And I noticed that when I looked at a story I wrote as a kid, and I was like, this character is almost exactly like this character I wrote in a book when I was an adult in college. It's the same idea, the tired old warrior woman, the Wolverine but female. Um, but yeah, I for this particular project, a lot of it's been from mythology, folklore, mythology and folklore, religion, the stuff that I talk about in videos, but I wanted to play with in a fictional space. Um, the story in the universe is actually from my novels. It's a project I've been working on for years. I've written short stories in it. I've drawn tons of art for it, and I was making an RPG game for it in RPG Maker. Hey Joe, I am in bed. That's why I'm on the laptop. I'm not getting out of bed because I feel like shit. But I wanted to do something. Do I do a lot of research for this particular project? Yes, some of it. I mean, I kind of already have from general research and osmosis. Yeah, I knew a lot of these stories, but I've started researching Babylon, which is newer for me. I'm really in love with it now. Babylonian myth is really great. Uh, but okay, to get to more details about what this story is, um, it is a visual novel where you play a character investigating a murder. The murder happened in the realm of the Fae, the fairy tale Fae folk kind of people. So it's a fairy that's been murdered, which obviously, they're supposed to be immortal. It's not supposed to happen. Um, your character has no memories at all because as a human, going into the Fae is very dangerous, and Fae can, steal your soul and alter your memories and mess with you. So if they know who you are, even if you know who you are, they can read your mind and know. So you have to have your memories repressed. So you've gone into this scenario and have to solve this murder, not knowing who you are, why you were chosen, why you're here, figuring out all this kind of stuff on the fly. And the characters you're interacting with who are Fae are all based on real world mythology. The main ones I focused on are Celtic, Japanese, Babylonian, Egyptian, Hawaiian, and Aztec. There's other like individual characters from different mythologies that are going to show up, but those are the main big ones that are part of the main plot line because mixed reasons. I wanted to do mythology that isn't oversaturated, especially like in the United States and our media. You see a lot of Greek mythology, you see a lot of Norse mythology, and that's great, but I want to tell stories and introduce people to things that they maybe haven't heard of before. One of my inspirations was the fact that my niece loves Norse mythology now because she got into Marvel comics and reading about Loki and Thor. And the comics are not that true to the mythology, but it made her interested in reading this older stuff, which is really great. So I kind of want to do the same thing where we're alluding to these older stories and characters and kind of modernizing them, telling a slightly different story, but encouraging people to search out the original stories and the original mythologies. Yeah, Celtic is one of the big ones. I did pick it because, well, I don't think a lot of people know much about Celtic mythology in detail. But honestly, here you probably know some songs, maybe. But growing up, my great grandparents were immigrants from Ireland, so I grew up on stories of what Innisfree was like. But we didn't actually know a lot because they died when my grandmother was very young, so it was kind of always a mystery for me and what started me researching mythology. So that definitely had to be in there. Japanese, because I do know quite a lot about it. Babylonian, because it's the oldest in the world. I really wanted to include that. I went back and forth on Egyptian and decided eventually that it has such a distinctive art style, and I wanted to use that. And while people know of it, I feel like most people don't know the stories. Like they've heard of Anubis, they don't know anything about the myths in the stories. Um oh, I can understand that fear swallowing dragons. I feel honestly it's probably having things stolen, well, a legitimate fear, and it has happened, especially to artists. In my scenario, I feel like it's so slim, it's so unlikely, and anything like it's just there's no profit in it for anyone. No one's going to make money off of some nobody that has, like, if I were a published author sharing a manuscript I hadn't published yet and I was like known, I could see someone trying to steal that. But this is, most of the time you're pretty fine. Years of publishing fan art and fan videos and stuff have kind of gotten rid of my fear of having things stolen, just because I've gotten so used to just sharing things. And this project I want this project to be free. I don't want people to have to pay for this game, because I want, one, I don't want to profit off of using other people's mythologies. Two, I want everyone to be able to play them, no matter what. Um, but that's going to be a long, I hope like a year, maybe, given what I basically, I know the story in my head. I know everything that's going to happen, but I have to create the assets and make it work it out. Um, I would like to do voice acting. Oh, I would never ask anybody to work for free. I do want to have a Kickstarter eventually, and hopefully save up some money for extra assets that I need. Um, and do that eventually. I don't know how soon, mostly because I don't know. I need to know more about what you need for a Kickstarter. Like, what do you need to have to prove you have this idea? What I've been doing so far is drawing a lot of the characters, trying to draw some of the scenes, and writing out a big document, which all of which are down below, that has more details about the world and everything, because I figure that might prove that I've actually got something. And it's helped me as well. I've had this project kind of in my mind for years, like I said, and it's changed over the years. I have a novel that kind of is actually, now that I've started this is a prequel to the novel, sort of. So the novel's on hold, but they're all in the same world. It's kind of the easiest way to connect it, to compare it, is to Tolkien, where Tolkien has all his stories and everything, they're all set in this one world. That's kind of what I work with. Most of my fiction, most of it is in this same fictional universe. I actually ran a D&D game in this universe, which was super fun. um but yeah, I'm definitely gonna I'm gonna try and post more info on it and do a Kickstarter soon, because I think that'll be a good way to get eyes on it, to get opinions on it, because I do also want to have people from a wide variety of cultures taking a look at this project, especially if it's from their culture, and giving their thoughts and opinions on it. That's also very important to me. And the best way to have that happen is to get it out there. uh but yeah, I was gonna actually try and show things, but obviously live studio does not give me that option. I can't show anything on the screen or anything. It's just my face. I don't have anything printed out, but why don't I pull up the document and I can actually talk about something. The first thing that came up when I clicked on it was two sexy fae I drew. Listen, this project's gonna have naked people in it. The gods were naked in art all the time. We should not be ashamed, and that's my my thing. Half the characters I've drawn so far are pretty nearly almost naked. Um, but yeah, I'm still got a lot to finish on the document. I'm probably gonna finish that this week and then start doing some research into what a good Kickstarter is, because I think I might have enough here to put out there, but I want to make sure I'm not jumping the gun. Um, so I said it was a horror themed visual novel. You're going to be solving puzzles to get through and advance the story and solve the murder. Kind of like Ace Attorney, which I've streamed a little of. It's actually the origin of this particular game style is, I was thinking about Ace Attorney and how ridiculous it is. It is not the way that a courtroom would ever run. And the reason for that is you can't really play that game and put yourself in that world where I'm actually going to solve a murder in this ridiculous fashion and it be believable. So embracing the absurdity makes it all cohesive. It's believable in this absurd world that you could solve a murder this way by, interviewing a parrot, which is something that happens in one of the games. And so I was thinking about that one day and I was like, what kind of court could actually be that ridiculous and believable? A fairy one, because in the stories the fae are always so over the top and will be mad at you for any old weird reason that seems unreasonable to us. And that kind of got in my head, like, what would a murder investigation in a fairy realm look like? And that's when I kind of started adapting this fictional universe to this gameplay style. The program I'm gonna be using, unless I decide I just can't do it, is called RenP. I've been kind of messing with it a little bit. Haven't really started anything yet because I need more, visual assets. I don't know. I'm mixed feelings on my backgrounds. I like the character designs. I feel like that's always been my strength is people. I'm not as good or practiced at locations, unfortunately. Uh Ren Py. It's a free visual novel program. I code teensy bit. Like I've messed with the RPG Maker language and tweaked that a little. I can do website programming, so I can kind of get by with a assistive program like RPG Maker or RenP. Hey Akatsuki. Trying to program my own game from scratch would never work. I could not do it, which is why I've always relied on these kind of programs. Um, yeah. So the story is you play the main quest trying to solve the murder, and then there are side quests that involve the various characters you meet, the gods and goddesses who aren't really, they're just called fae, but that's what we know of them in the real world. Where you kind of get to know these characters and help them with their problems. And the problems are all sort of a one-to-one connection to real world myths. Like you'll be going through one of the first ones is called Inanna's Descent into the Underworld. It's a Babylonian myth about this goddess of love and war named Inanna, who descends into the underworld to save her husband from her sister, the goddess of death. And you play through the game, and the quest you're on kind of involves similar points. You are with a woman named Inanna who is taking you into the underworld for reasons, and so you're kind of living through a version of the myth. I'd like to have a system where once you've completed that quest, it unlocks like a trophy that would allow you to read a document of the original text, the real myth, so that people would have an easy way to access the original works, which is one of the big reasons I want to do this, is to make those accessible. And then there's also going to be a system like in Dragon Age 2 is the easiest one I can think of to compare it to, where you had a rivalry and a friendship system where depending on what actions you took and what you said, people either liked you or hated you. So you can get to know these characters, help them through their problems, and the actions you take will either, make them happy, not make them happy. Maybe you help them save their husband from the underworld. Maybe you don't end up helping them save the husband. And then that will all build up into the end game where something really big and cataclysmic happens, and based on who you helped or didn't help, what choices you made, the cataclysm kind of plays out differently, which is sort of like the Yogg, which is a neat little game that I really enjoy. How flexible, I really don't know a lot about that program because I really literally did just start reading about it. This is my first visual novel. I know a lot more about RPG Maker, especially MX and XP, but yeah, I've just started looking at this new one because I think it would fit, the visual novel would fit this a lot better than trying to create, like, you could kind of use RPG Maker to create a visual novel. I'm sure someone's done it, but I feel like it's not as straightforward. That's not really what it's meant for. Is this a tank controlled survival horror game? Unfortunately, no. I do not have those resources or that talent. I can make a visual novel. I cannot make anything else. But it is horror themed, as I said earlier. The house in Fata Morgana is the easiest comparison I have. It's a horror visual novel. Will my game be feature rich? I don't really know what you mean by feature rich. It's going to be story focused, but you're going to have kind of character relationships you build. You're going to have stats where your choices in dialogue will affect your personality. Because you have no memories, you don't know who you are, your dialogue and actions will kind of decide that for you. So if you choose a, say, rude option, then your foolhardy stat will go up. But that doesn't always mean that it's always just like bad option, good option. I feel like that's a real weakness of some of these games, is that it will kind of read out that way, where it's like, obviously this is the good option, this is the bad option. Maybe a foolhardy option is running in to save someone from a fire without thinking first. Like, it's a good thought, but you're not thinking ahead. You're rushing in, hard on your sleeve kind of thing. There's a sly option where you're more hesitant and cautious. You think things through. Maybe you're a little manipulative. That kind of thing. There's kind options, which obviously are generally nice, gentle decisions. And then there's harsh, which is things that are a little more realistic and difficult. Hey, Surfin. And based on the way that you make those choices and those stats build, it may unlock other options later and allow you to do different things with different characters. Whew. I can't believe I'm out of breath from just sitting here and talking. Oh. Test it out and recommend building a skeleton of your game first. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be possible, because I would need, unless it comes with default assets, which in that case I can just make something like a stand-in the way that you can with XP Maker. But like I said, I have not quite started messing with the program itself yet. I've just been kind of building the building blocks, setting all my pieces together, I guess, before I start building it together. But I'm actually kind of, shocked that it's coming together like this. A few months ago, I would have thought, I'd always wanted to make a game, and like I said, I've played with RPG Maker for years, but I never really took it that seriously, because I figured I would never have the assets or ability to do anything. But this actually looks doable. I really think I could do this, which is going to be fun. I'm excited to see it come together. But it will definitely be a while. But I'm glad y'all seem to think it's a good concept. I definitely wanted to see if it actually sounded any interesting to anyone. Have I decided a title? Yes, it is called Triqueta, which is spelled like this. It is the name of a symbol. I believe it's originally Celtic. It's European. I don't know if it's specifically Celtic, but it's tied into the themes of the game, where one of the main themes of the game is the idea of reclaiming things that were taken from you. The triqueta as a symbol was originally a symbol of the mother and the maiden and the crone, the triple goddess. And it's very obvious why when you look at symbols like the Sheila. I'm gonna say this wrong because I don't speak Irish. It's the Sheila Nagig. It's an Irish fertility statue with a woman with a very obvious, and it's the same symbolic design as the little shape of the three leaves on the triqueta. So it's kind of obvious. Of course, like many other things in Europe, it was taken and adapted by Christians to represent the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And so I thought that made a very good symbol for this idea of reclaiming things that are taken from you, where even if someone has taken something from you, a symbol that has meaning, a personal, stealing something from you literally, or in the case of the main character, she's lost her memories. What's been taken from you is always still yours, and if this person that's taken it from you is trying to blackmail you or offer it back to you, like, it's not theirs to give back because it was always yours. And that kind of idea, of course, this is a magical world, so the idea of always owning something, that kind of magic builds into the plot of the murder mystery. I already know who killed him and how it was done and why. Like, I know the whole thing. I just have to map out the actual quests that are going to lead through all these points. Um, yeah, and that's sort of what I've been working on the past couple days because I can do it on my laptop and just lay here and be tired. It's horrible. I'm literally tired just doing this, which I didn't think I would be, but gosh, I'm feeling a lot better than I was. But this happens every month or two, unfortunately. It's getting better, but it takes a long time. Oh man. But yeah, if you want to look at any of the art or anything, I post it in Discord all the time, and I also put a link in the description to the actual folder with all the concepts. I didn't actually post the newest thing I finished today, which I should go ahead and do. I'll put it in the um I'll put it in Discord and in this thing. I'm trying to work on like a cover for the game. Here we go. There, put that there. It's in the Discord, and now let's put it in the folder. Something to like put on, you know, if it had a Steam page or something, what would go there. And I think I like what I've done here. And it's the character that was murdered being held in the arms of the main sort of mentor figure. She kind of ends up more like your BFF, but she is the first Fae you meet, so she kind of introduces you to that world. She is the Lady Summer of the Court of Seasons. He is Lord Winter, and the Court of Seasons are, like it sounds, the four seasons, and they rule all the Fae. Every Fae spirit, everything living and dead, falls under the jurisdiction of one of the Fae who are on the court. And the person that's murdered is Lord Winter. So they've killed somebody super important, and it's a very big political thing. So investigating the murder has high stakes. And I was really actually kind of sad killing him because he's been a character in other stuff I've done in my D&D games, but it just made the most sense. Um, Yes, I did check out your game, Kim. If you want to post a link in the description, please do. It was a while ago, but it looked super cool. It's on YouTube, y'all. If you want to check it out, please post a link. I think I had a link somewhere in here. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, that's my project. Let's see. Is this the? Yes, this is the link. Get this over here. I thought this looked super neat. Y'all should definitely check it out. Oh, why am I so out of breath? Jeez. Thyroid problems are no fun. If you don't have a thyroid, you die. So you have to take medication for it for the rest of your life. And I still get the symptoms, which basically amount to being hungry and tired all the time and sweaty. I'm so sweaty. I took a shower before this. Well, like I said, I am feeling better. You can kind of tell when it's like when the flu's passing. I can tell that I'm starting to feel more like myself, but gosh, I'm hoping tomorrow will be normal so that we can do Fanfic Friday and everything. Because we missed last week with the big stream. And it's been a week since I streamed something today, sort of, but grr. Anyway, I guess that's all I really have to talk about right now. Unless folks have questions they want to ask about this or about anything, please do so. Right now, I think if I can have, you don't have a okay, I said that in a silly way. My thyroid doesn't produce the hormones you need to live. So mine, I have to take a pill that gives me the hormone. If you don't get homemade hormones, store-bought is fine. So basically it doesn't work very well. Hey, someone cool. All right, so let's see. Is it going to be a Silent Hill fanfic reading tomorrow? Yes, it'll be the Final Hell thing. And with the quest system, can I help everyone I come across and make them happy? Yeah, so that's kind of my idea is there's gonna the side quests are gonna involve meeting these characters from myth and dealing with their problems and helping them play out either in different ways. I don't want to say good and bad way because I don't really like that kind of reductive like in Mass Effect where you could be a paragon or a I don't remember the other one, but it just felt really reductive that like most of the behaviors were just like nice or evil. But there are going to be variations in how the stories play out based on your personal choices. And it's all going to be basically really heavily inspired by myths. I mentioned In Honor to the Underworld. Another one is the Anubis myth, or not the Anubis, geez, the Osiris myth. In Egyptian mythology, Osiris is the god of all the gods, the sun god, and his brother throws him into a he chops him up into tiny pieces and locks him in a chest and throws all the pieces all across Egypt. And a bunch of stuff happens, but Osiris's wife Isis goes on this quest to find all the pieces and save him. And in the game, she comes to you for help in trying to solve this problem where her brother-in-law just chopped her husband into pieces, and you kind of have to help figure all that out and deal with all that. One of the things I've already planned that I just adore and love is in the original myth, his penis is never so she has to make him one. And you know I'm using that in the game. You know that's gonna be a thing. But it just makes me laugh so hard. They found all his pieces except I think a fish or an alligator ate the penis and was considered unlucky from then on because of that. And she does. She gets her we don't go this far. I'm not dealing with the entirety of the Osiris myth. I'm kind of picking and choosing some of the myths because some of them go into huge cosmologies and stuff. But she creates a stone phallus, if I remember right, to replace the missing one, and she gets herself pregnant with it, and that's how their son is born. And oh man, it's just so much. Yeah, that's what happens. Well, my game have alchemical themes. I would like to include some alchemy and some occult stuff. I've already decided Faust is going to be a character who's he's really fictional, but that's kind of his jam was the study of the occult. Um, there are some other like literary figures, like I may include Dracula. I don't know, but those will be like side stuff where if you go and explore and go into these different areas, you can meet these characters and talk to them, maybe do some side quests, but they might not necessarily like you're not going to meet Faust in the main quest. You could miss him. But I want to throw more stuff into the larger world. It's kind of going to be like you're going to have chapters where in the first chapter you do the main quest to go forward, or if you want to wait, you can explore the town and find people to talk to, events that will happen, do, quests, and then once you've moved the main quest forward, you go to a new scenario where stuff in the town is different, quests may be different, characters have moved, new things have shown up. And I'm planning on 7 events like that because 7's like a huge mythological number and probably going to be like prologue and then 6 chapters is what I'm thinking of. Oh, man. Yes, I just saw Delvin's comment. Yes, that is exactly what Isis. Listen, Isis, yes, she did. She found all the pieces of her. Okay, well, first, her husband is invited to dinner by all these gods, not just Seth, but Seth is the brother of Osiris, always the horrible, jealous brother. And Seth and all the other gods invite him to a banquet. And there's a chest. There's something about the chest was a gift or something. Yeah, it was a gift or something. And he made this comment like, "Oh, I bet you can't fit in it." And Osiris is like, "I bet I can." And he gets in it, and then they lock it. Like, duh, idiot. And some of the versions, I think they throw him in the river. I don't remember how he ends up being cut into pieces, but that I think the main myth is he gets cut into pieces because Isis has to go search him out and find all the pieces. She does not find the penis. And so she creates one and magically makes herself pregnant, and her son is born to avenge her husband and his father. The father never comes back. The father ends up becoming the god of the underworld, which is really fascinating that he's the god of the sun and the god of the whole pantheon, but he ends up dying and going to the underworld and staying there. they don't resurrect him, which is really fascinating. And I do believe in most of the myths, Isis eventually goes down to be with him, and their son takes over the pantheon. So it's kind of an interesting, really mythical take on the idea of passing the torch to the next generation. Sorry, bro moment. You missed a bit. We're talking about Egyptian mythology and gods that miss their penises. This video is going to get demonetized so fast. I have to stop saying that word. I will do a Kickstarter very soon, probably. Listen, it's not a horror movie. That is legit. Just the Egyptian myths, the texts. The myths get wild, you guys. Like, I've been reading the Japanese ones. I don't remember the entire context. I just remember Tsukuyomi, Susanoo, and Amaterasu are the three big ones in Japan. It's always like three siblings, I swear, which is also kind of a theme in the game, the idea of three, the triqueta. But Susanoo shits on Amaterasu's throne. Just like, because Japan and Shinto has a big thing about impurities, and impurities often having to do with, dirt and being unclean. And yeah, and Susanoo is always the bad brother, the one causing trouble, and he's the god of the sea, and it's an island, so obviously that's going to be seen as kind of a mixed blessing. And he shits on his sister's throne because that's Japan. That's myth. That's just myth. All the myths are wild. Does the game have horror stuff? Yes, it is definitely going to be very horrific. I kind of don't want to give too much away, but there is some you're the only human in the Fae realm, so there's something very alien and strange about this realm. But then even more than that, as you're becoming friends with these Fae and realizing they're kind of like you, there's something underneath, something in between the cracks that is even more alien than the Fae, even more inhuman than them. And you kind of get a hint at it with angels. There are some angelic characters in the game, but they don't look like the Fae do. They kind of look a little wild, a little Cthulhu-like, and that kind of, some of that plays into the bigger plot of the game and the monsters that will be in it. It is definitely a horror game, but I don't want to give away too much. It's a lot of it is played into it. It plays into the fact that you don't know who you are, and the more that you get hints at who you are, the more frightened you are of who you might have been. Like I said, I do not want to give spoilers, but that is basically the idea. Just has to be a spiral staircase. I don't know if that will be the case. I think right now I have like 13 main settings that you can explore around the town, and it's like a restaurant, a library, general kind of locations that are more magical looking because they are in a Fey world. I drew two that are in the document, the library, which I think turned out really gorgeous, and a restaurant, which is it was my first attempt on this new computer program to do a location, and it needs a little adjusting, but I like the library. It turned out pretty cool. And the game is called Triqueta, and there's a document and a link and everything in the description if you want to look up more of it. And I will be posting more general info once I finish writing it. Yeah, I really think I've always had this universe kind of in my head, which is part of why a lot of this was kind of already written. I already had written a novel about this fictional world. I wrote a D&D campaign. I already knew a lot about the myths, as you guys know. It just took kind of tweaking my thinking and going, okay, what would this setting look like in a visual novel? Because I could actually make a visual novel. I can write, I can draw, I can get some music, I can do that. And that's way, way better than trying to program anything, because I cannot do that. You won't have to pre-order it. The game is going to be free. I want everyone to be able to play it. My hope is with the Kickstarter that if people do like it and want to support it, to be able to send in enough where if I needed to buy people to do voice acting, or if I did want to get a musician to compose something, like that would be possible. But again, I want to have a complete document. I want to do a few more general pictures and drawings for it. But I hope by the end of February, I'm actually going to have a Kickstarter posted. and I will let y'all know about that for sure. I don't see the game being done for at least a year because I am the only one working on it, and even though I've done a lot of the background stuff and the writing and everything, I haven't started putting it together in a program. So that's going to take a while. I'm going to have to learn how to do it, you know. Thank you, bro moment. I love that tree man. Oh man, I made the tree guy and the water guy just for the puns of they're both sex spirits, and the tree guy was to make all the puns about wood, and the water guy was to make all the puns about wetness. This video is getting demonetized immediately. But yeah, there is a burlesque kind of club in the game that you will be able to meet succubi, incubi, sex spirits, and you'll be able to interact with them and speak to them, and that's going to be fun because I want to explore all the things in myth that were explored very heavily that maybe in the modern day get sanitized in a lot of stories because, you know, we're made uncomfortable by it. Sex being one of it, nakedness being another. The one thing I probably will ignore or downplay is incestual relationships because that's really not something like for gods, they're gods, so it's cool, you know, like they're gods. What does it matter? But for us, that's really kind of gross and creepy. And if I'm making them fae that are kind of like humans, like I'm probably not going to do that. I'm probably going to play down the amount of siblings that are married to each other. Hey, Kawhi. Is there anything to show off? Yes. There's a folder in my drive that is linked down below that you should be able to look at. A bunch of concept art, some older concept art that I've kind of retired but is related to the project, and the document that I'm currently working on. It's not finished, but it's getting there. I haven't started or haven't posted the script I started because I do want to keep that more private. But eventually I'll probably post like the prologue of the script. It's okay for gods, but not alien fae. Well, I thought about that and I was like, I could include something that's like talking about how, you know, they're not related in the human sense. It's not, and then I just decided I really didn't want to do that. I just don't want to deal with that. It just it's gross to me. And I mean, I may maybe with one of them, because I think the only one it becomes the myths we're dealing with, I think the Japanese is the only one that is marriage to siblings, if I remember correctly. Because Tsukuyomi and Amaterasu are married. So it may not even come up because I don't think any of the other pantheons I chose have married siblings. So it may not matter. Hey, Ariel. Yes, I am making a video game. And you can look at some of what I have down in the description. Mostly, the sibling thing is just, I don't, you know, it's a thing that for most of us we now know is not cool for multiple reasons, power imbalance and genetics, which people just back then didn't really. Well, some cultures probably did. It probably depended on the time and the culture. But again, this was just fantasy, and they were imagining this big whole family, and then, oh, we have to make these family members marry somebody. Are my future children going to be able to play this cool, totally PG game? Well, you might want to wait until they're teenagers. It's definitely going to be more adult. Will my game have a little conspiracy? Oh, definitely. There is rot at the heart of this world, and you are going to be finding the rot as you uncover the murder of Lord Winter. Finding out why he was killed and by who definitely reveals a conspiracy. And there's so much I would love to talk about, but is spoilers, and I don't want to spoil it. Of course, eventually I will post like a full document that has more details, and I will probably post one that has all the spoilers for folks that want to like know what it is they're investing in. But I'll probably have two versions so folks can avoid spoilers if they want to. You had me at the sexy club. Yeah, I had fun with that because people are such prudes, and and that's a thing that I want to explore in this game, but I also don't want to make it like you have to be sexy or romantic in the game. I want friendships to be a big thing too, because in a lot of games that have relationship dynamics, usually you can only become friends with them so much before passing into romance. And then you have some material that's like cut off from you if you don't want to romance that character. And I don't want to have that happen. I want to make it so that if you want to romance or like you really like that character, go for it. Or if you want to like friend mance them, go for it. you know, I want you to really be able to play this game and get to know these characters the way that you want to. And that's going to be the main mechanic of the game is character bonds, interacting with the characters in the story and games and quests and stuff. That's going to be the main meat, which is kind of sort of like oh, what's that game called? I mean, a lot of visual novels, I'm sure, play this way because a lot of them are romance stories where you make friends and have relationships that way. I've been playing shoot, what's that game called? It's the one with the Japanese, the samurai from the 1800s, it's the Shinsengumi, and you can romance them. And it's a dating visual novel. Crap, I can't remember the name. But yeah. Um anyway, that's going to be a big thing. Um and it's going to be fun, I think. I'm enjoying it. Will the game have art or only graphics? Love if you could name the MC if you're going to include romance. That is probably my plan. I had played with having a base name. I don't know. I'm torn a little bit because I may play with the name theme with the whole, names are dangerous to have with the Fae, so you need to have a cover name you give yourself. Um, but I haven't completely decided yet. Will the game have art or only graphics? I'm not sure what the difference there is. I'm only capable of drawing like still images, and there's going to be like, expressions and faces and stuff. Animation I can't do, but if the Kickstarter takes off, I'd love to pay somebody to do like scenes, not all, but big moments to have animated scenes. It'd be fantastic. It is going to be a visual novel, which, for those who've never played a visual novel, Dream Daddy's the one I keep thinking of because it's really famous, but it's like, it's still images that, change as you interact with characters and stuff, but, it is basically that. You have a character from my favorite Final Fantasy game. I'm guessing you talking about Yuna over here? That's my girl. My collection of Final Fantasy shit is in my closet. I'd show off my room, but it looks horrible right now because I haven't cleaned it in 2 days. So, um, does the MC have a design? Yes, that is also in the folder. The MC is completely covered head to toe and wears a mask because, again, the idea is if the Fae know anything about you, they could follow you back home. They could stalk you the rest of your life. They could try and steal your soul. Like, if they get any attachment on who you really are, you could be in danger. So when you go into the Fae, you have to cover your entire body, put on the mask that represses your memories. So in a way, the character's design, I wanted it to be kind of ambiguous where anyone could be underneath that cloak. Because I wanted anybody to imagine that it's them, but I knew that having a character creator would be beyond me. And it kind of played well into the ideas of not knowing who you are, that you can't even know what you look like. So I ended up really liking that. How long do you think it will work? Oh, and yeah, the character's gender, they're going to be treated as non-binary. I'm not going to like say they are because I want people to be able to interpret the character the way they want, but I'm going to have the story written in a way that it's very nondescript about that character. Oh, so far working on this project, the way that I tend to work is when I get up at around 6, 7, and that's when I have my coffee. And typically while I'm sitting here and drinking coffee, I'll work on concepts. And then probably around 11, get to working on YouTube stuff, probably do some streaming. And then when I lay down to go back to bed, I'll probably read, which is generally mythology and stuff. That sounds like I don't have any free time, but I'm just a person that gets really obsessed with projects, and it's my way of relaxing as well as working. So long story short, I've probably been spending 4 hours a day on it so far. And obviously, if I got Kickstarter money where I wouldn't have to worry about paying the bills every month, I could dedicate a lot more time to it. I don't want to take away from YouTube, but if, I could, at this point, to be funded well, I have to stream about 5 times a week. and I have to post like 5 video essays a month to be kind of viable. And if I had enough money where I could just do Silent Hill symbolism and not have to rush out the other ones as much, or if I could stream maybe 3 days a week and not have to worry about trying to, where I could just balance it out a little more with what folks really like to see, and not have to, make certain projects every month or else I don't pay the bills, then I could probably dedicate a lot more time to making the game. But it's not something that I want to I'm not replacing YouTube with this. I want to do them both because I really enjoy both. I've just been working on this one right now because I can, like I said, I don't have to work on my desktop. I can just lay in bed. I can't edit videos because that's the desktop, unfortunately. Whew. Mm. Mm. Okay, well, I guess that's all, unless folks have more questions. I said that like 30 minutes ago, and then a bunch of people showed up with questions, which is really great. Thank you guys for listening, and Bob is here to say hello. Say hi, buddy. Bob says it's bedtime, and he doesn't understand why Mommy's not laying down so that he can snuggle. Isn't that right, Bobby? Yeah, why aren't you snuggling? Mom. Here, let's turn and see if we can see Bob better. Say hi, Bobby. Hey, Bubby. It's been hailing and raining all day, and none of the cats have liked it. It's not been any fun for them, has it, buddy? It's okay. That's okay. Yes. It's okay. It's still raining, but it's way lighter than it was a few hours ago. Wonder if you can hear him purring. You want to say hello? Being jealous, someone else has shown up. Hello, Pippin. And Gandalf is... Oh, okay. Let's see if I can see him. Well, now I'm showing you my whole horrible, ugly room. But there's the Gandhi in his tree. Yeah, Gandalf was the one that got most upset. He likes to sit in the window and watch the weather. So I think when it started hailing, it really scared him. And I have a video of when it happened up on Twitter where he looked at me so concerned, like, Mom, what's happening? And then he ran and hid under the bed. That was so sad. Oh, thank you, Kim. My room is pretty decent. I have a bunch of paperwork spread out on the floor right now because I was trying to do taxes. So it's a bit of a mess. And for some reason, I do have to show you this if we can see it. So if you look over at the base of the cat tree, there's the water dish, and there's a book on the cat food. Yeah, you see the book on the cat food? Yeah, Gandalf, for some reason, likes to hide his food under my books. He will literally pull down the books on the shelf. If you can see that the shelf, all the books are falling. That's because Gandalf likes to hide his food under my books. I don't understand. Tex-Mex says that's a lot of books. Well, that's one half of the room. I guess I might as well just show you now. This is the other half. I own about 770 books total. Probably about, I don't know, I haven't counted the games in a while. But there's a lot of them. Lord of the Rings is on the floor because we're still moving and unpacking, and we just found that downstairs, so it needs to go somewhere. I don't know where. I'm running out of room, and this room is way bigger than the one I used to live in at the old house. I have so much more space now. It is a huge room, which is why I took this one, because I knew I could make it into a bedroom and office. Originally, we were thinking that I would make another bedroom and office, and then when we moved in, we were like, holy shit, this room is twice the size, literally twice the size of my old room. Whew. Wow, 3,000 books, man! Oh, that's amazing. Do I really read all those? A lot of my nonfiction is there so that I can, if I want to go look up a fact about a character or a figure from myth, I can go and read that specific chapter. So have I read them all front to back? No. Maybe a third-ish of them. The fiction, a lot more of them I have read. Still trying to make myself catch up with my fiction before I buy any more new stuff. But nonfiction I tend to buy because it's on a topic I might need to research, and I want to have it on hand for whenever it needs to be read. But I don't tend most of the time to sit down and read them front to back. There are some in the nonfiction that are super great and have really taught me a lot, and I will read them front to back. But they aren't all that listenable or readable. Oh no! The reason you were getting bad audio is my mic came undone, so I guess it was recording with the webcam mic. She probably has one manga that hasn't been eyed yet. And I haven't finished reading everything because I tend to buy in used stores, so I buy things when I find them if I have that opportunity. So even if it's like the 5th book in a series that I'm still on number 1, it's $3, so I may as well buy it and take it home, you know. I have a lot of PDFs and stuff too nowadays, but nonfiction and stuff is still cheaper to find in used stores because, you know. Is it still bad? Did it not automatically change over? Let's see. How do I... Hello? Nope. I don't know how this live studio crap works. It's not the normal YouTube.